Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. And in this one, I'm going to be going over my gameplay as a balanced druid against Enhancement Shaman, Arms Warrior, and a Holy Paladin. So I'm going to be talking you through my tactics in this match, what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing right, and what I'm doing wrong, what could be corrected moving forward, so that you can then take all that information for yourself when you're playing in Arena and you're in these situations, or even any sort of PvP, and have more success. That is the main goal of it. So let's just get started. In this clip, I will be playing with a Windwalker Monk and a Holy Paladin. Windwalker Monk felt like so far one of the best specializations to play with in terms of competitiveness on my balanced druid. It has a lot of options between just overwhelming someone with burst damage, or crowd controlling a healer and bursting down a target, or just running at a healer. It's very flexible and it just has a lot of damage. Overall, I would definitely recommend it, and I've been experimenting more with compositions over time. Now, Enhancement Shaman is very prevalent at the moment, and as well as Arms Warrior, so you're going to see this a lot, which is why this clip is important as well. In particular, against melee cleaves, I like to run Thorns, as you can see my talents here. And the reason I'm not running the Fairy Swarm Disarm is because my Monk has the Honor Talent Grapple Weapon, which is a disarm, and usually you're going to end up running on diminishing returns. Thorns can do a punishing amount of damage to an Enhancement Shaman and a Warrior, and the main reason that Thorns is also useful is that Enhancement Shamans provide a lot of healing, but it costs a lot of mana. So if they have to purge your Thorns, they're going to lose out on mana to heal themselves, or if they heal themselves, they can't purge Thorns. It's very important to have a couple of trash buffs that the Shaman wants to remove, so that you can keep the Enhancement Shaman out of mana, and that's the main downside of their specialization. Now, the main things you want to be aware of when you're going into this engagement and you begin fighting is things like Doom Winds for Enhancement Shaman. Now, you'll know that this is happening typically because, well, you will, because Wind Fury Totem is on the ground, but it can be hard to see. I'll point it out when we get to it. Another tell that they've activated Doom Winds is that they'll have Bloodlust or Heroism, as they will likely be running Shamanism and Honor Talent that makes it a 1-minute cooldown. It lines up with their Doom Winds on a 1-minute cooldown. So all those abilities together will tell you, hey, the Shaman is ramping up for a lot of damage. Arms Warriors, particularly in this matchup, will be running Kyrian, and you'll be wanting to pay attention to the blue circle on the ground. It's during these cooldowns that you want to use Barkskin and you want to get into bear form. At the start of the fight, you want to crowd control the healer from stealth, so I sneak across the enemy attackers, and I tell my Monk to stun the DPS. This way, all three members are stun locked and unable to move, and you want to pop all of your damaging cooldowns. Now, the Shaman responds by trinketing and grounding, so you want to try and kill the grounding totem. I had a hard time clicking it, but the main goal is to kill the grounding totem as soon as possible. But here you can see Shaman has popped Bloodlust. I see it on the Warrior. I see Ascendance and Avatar. This is the scariest moment in the game. This is when you need to use your biggest cooldown. So the biggest cooldown on our team is my Paladin Sacrifice here. This stops all damage entirely. You want to make sure that you're using your strongest defensive cooldown when they activate Ascendance here with 7 seconds and Avatar with 10 seconds. As soon as you've activated your defense, you're ready to go aggressive. I Cyclone the Paladin. We stun the Paladin, and we get the Paladin's Trinket, which is their ability to get out of crowd control. You just want to keep ramming as much damage as you can as your incarnation is still up for some time, and then look to try and reposition, because this composition will chop you. So I use Wild Charge to jump, I use Typhoon to knock back, and I use Stampeding Roar to sprint, and this is because my Paladin is stunned and unable to heal me, so I'm looking to avoid as much damage as possible during this time that my Paladin can't heal. And if they switch to my Monk, I will get ready for that. Now, Mass Entanglement is a 30-second cooldown, so you want to use it 30 seconds after your first solar beam. So just rooting any random target to annoy them, take a Dispel away or a Freedom. And then aside from that, I start positioning towards the top side of the ramp. This is with the main goal of jumping back down and trying to Cyclone the Holy Paladin. Here I need to fake interrupts. The Warrior charges me, so I anticipate pummel and I fake. Then I need to kill Grounding Totem. These things are things to stop my crowd control. And I think I do end up making a mistake in the near future where I want to Cyclone out of this Paralyze, but they still have more things to stop me. So I get Storm Bolted. I'm waiting for the Storm Bolt, and then I still just want to look for Cyclone on Paladin. The main reason is because my Paladin isn't crowd controlled. They can freely heal me. I want to crowd control theirs. But I make the mistake of going bear form and don't target the Paladin. You can use Wild Charge in bear form to charge to the target. It roots it in place and then cast a Cyclone out of it. What I did there was a mistake. I charged the wrong target. I tried to use Wild Charge, or tried to use Bull Rush, my high mountain racial, to get there to get Cyclone, but I wasn't able to get it because Wind Shear was up. But you do want to use Wild Charge to jump to the enemy healer when it's safe to do so to Cyclone. Here I have my Root Solar Beam. You can cast it while Divine Favor is up. This is not immunity to silence. And then you could tell your teammate to remove it. Our composition doesn't have any way of removing it other than maybe a Blood Elf Arcane Torrent. So not really any way to end it. But out of your Solar Beam, you want a Cyclone. You want to tell your teammates to get ready to crowd control if you can't, whether it be a Paralyze or a Repentance. And because of this crowd control, we get Divine Shield and we get Blessing of Protection. These are immunities. So I want to try and Cyclone the Shaman to stop him from getting healed to full and to stop him from doing damage. Because right now my Monk can't do damage to him and I can't crowd control theirs. But here's that blue circle on the ground, likely meaning that the Warrior and Shaman want to do a lot of damage. There's Wind Fury Totem on the ground as well. Hard to see. Easier to see this icon. This is Heroism or Bloodlust. 7 seconds. This is their big damage. So I want to be Cycloning. They Bladestorm immune it. I want to be healing. I activate Thorns to try and take a global away from the Shaman. Either they will attack into Thorns and take damage, or take a global to purge it and stop hitting me. Go in Bear Form and press Frenzied Regeneration. It's during that time specifically. The blue circle, the red little icon on your Gladius, as I recommend you play with Gladius. And as soon as that's over, it's time to crowd control their healer. We paralyze. I try to look for Cyclones out of it as well, and you want to get into your Eclipse during this time. Activate your Covenant ability. Try to kill off Grounding Totem as quickly as possible. If you become quick at sniping the Grounding Totem with your mouse, clicking it and moonfiring it, you're going to be getting a lot of crowd control out against Shamans in particular. Definitely a skill that you want to work on. And now in this position, I'm still just trying to Cyclone. The Warrior's next to me. He can pummel, so I try to jump away from the Warrior out of range, but I need to come back to Dispel Hex. Shamans can cast Hex, and you can remove it, so pay attention here, the little frog. Now the Paladin's in a stun. I could Cyclone, but the Warrior is protecting him, so instead I just choose to run away from the engagement, reposition. We win in about 5 seconds here with Solar Beam down coming up in 5. So rather than risking getting stunned and interrupted, I'm just going to wait for my Solar Beam. The Paladin has no way to escape crowd control in the near future. And I'm going to try and look to win the game with that crowd control in particular. So we need to go pretty much right now, or else that window is going to be lost pretty soon. So I do my Root Solar Beam with 8 seconds left. I try to cast 2 Wraths. This will get me into Lunar Eclipse and dump my Star Surges. But the Shaman starts retreating away. And because he's now no longer in line of sight, we have to hit something else. So I decide to say, let's go for Paladin, as we might be able to get his Trinket on his stun in the near future. And the Shaman is too far to hit and will heal himself. So we switch to the Paladin and we stun. And the main reason here is either to kill him or to get Gladiator's Medallion. He gets protected, though, by Grounding Totem and Intervene. And Intervene's very powerful defense. So I just disorient everything and try to sit in Bear Farm, get ready for their attack, as that blue circle is likely available. I knock them back. I get ready to use Wild Charge. Our little crowd control chain is over. It's time to get ready, focused on defense, try and get some space, maybe sneak in. I sneak in range here without Wind Shear up and no grounding. So I cycle on the Holy Paladin. And then I want to get into Eclipse, but it might not have time. I cast 1 Starfire. The Paladin is still in a Cyclone, but here's that Doom Winds. My Monk, I think, pretty much just KOs the target here for me instead of myself. So even if you don't get your damage off perfectly as a balanced druid, usually the Monk will be able to back you up. But regardless, sneaking in that Cyclone enabled the Monk to get the kill. Then you would want to cast the Starfires to get into Eclipse. And when you're in Eclipse, activate your Kyrian ability to dump 2 really big Star Surges with the Balance of All Things Legendary, providing you 100% crit at that point. So this composition, you can see as a balanced druid, you're gonna be tested a little bit more because you're the only caster DPS, so you're likely to get targeted in a lot of these cleave matchups. But if you bring a high damage target like a Monk, they're going to back you up a lot. So even if you're stuck in bear form or you're kiting a lot, you're not able to attack, they will carry you quite heavily, and you synergize with them so well by having an instant crowd control solar beam every minute, which really makes this composition powerful at the moment. So if you're looking for a different composition, a little bit more of an interesting play style than the double caster I'm seeing a lot, like Ellie Boomkin, Shadow Priest Boomkin, this is one that I would recommend. It feels stronger than the warrior variant in a lot of situations at the moment, and I really had a lot of fun playing it. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it with a thumbs up. Comment down below with what you would like to see as well from the channel here. I want it to be a resource for Shadowlands, so we can all just get better at the game, all improve, and excel. That is the main goal of the channel here. So once again, thank you very much. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.